As health and wellness providers, we know that better patient outcomes require a whole person, multidisciplinary approach that we just can't provide on our own. That's why I've started the Wellness Center Creators Podcast. I'll be bringing you interviews with experts, tips, tricks, secrets, resources, systems, and solutions so that you don't have to reinvent the wheel. And creating your wellness center won't feel like starting over. Welcome back, everyone, to the Wellness Center Creators Podcast. Today on the show, we have Michael Vlasaty. Welcome, Michael. Can you please introduce yourself?
Hey, everyone. Yeah, my name's Michael. I work at Jane, and I am in our customer success area. And what that means is I help build great relationships with customers and make sure that everyone's doing really well and loving their time here at Jane.
Amazing. So we're going to talk about Jane today. We're going to talk about EMRs, EHRs in general. I get questions about EMRs every day. So let's jump in. Why do you think people stay with their current EMR? So in the context, we're talking about healthcare providers a lot of the time. And most of our audience here on Wellness Center Creators are healthcare providers and healthcare business owners. But if you're not a healthcare business owner, that's what we're talking about. Michael, maybe you can share with our audience first, like what is an EMR so that we give people some context.
Absolutely. Yeah. So an EMR, or electronic medical record service, is an area where you can store medical charts, things like your session notes or uploads for different patients that you may have. You can do scheduling. You can do a myriad of different things. There's lots of different EMRs out there. Some can do a lot, some can do a little, but at a very basic function, it's a way of securely storing medical records for your patients as a healthcare provider.
Great. So why do you think people stay with their current EMRs, even though they might not be a good fit or they feel like this isn't working for me? Why do you think people stick with it?
I think the biggest reason is purely just out of fear of change. It's a daunting task going from one EMR to another EMR. How do I keep my information? How does it get transferred over? What am I going to have to do? There's so many questions. And as a busy healthcare provider, you often also have to be your own tech support. You also have to be your own person who's running your business with you. There's no one else. And that's really daunting. That takes a lot of time that you may not have. So I think when people aren't in great fits with their EMR, it's mostly just out of fear of jumping over to another spot, which is a great place to be in, because out of that fear can come a lot of great questions too, and about digging in. How can I do this? Who's out there to help me? And lots of EMRs have support. Lots of EMRs have documentations on how to move over. But one of the greatest things that we do here at Jane is we have award-winning support, and that's the way we drive Jane is through our conversations with customers and through helping them, and that's what really excites us every day, is getting to talk to people who are doing exactly this and take away that fear and help them cross over into something else that's hopefully better for them, or at the very least just giving them the actual knowledge to know what tools to go out there to look for, whether that's Jane or not, and really kind of having that confidence of, you know what, I can do this. So maybe there is something better out there for me, and hopefully someone is out there to help me and can make these decisions with me.
Absolutely. Yeah, Jane's really good at just providing the facts in addition to that award-winning support. Every single person that uses Jane speaks to the amount of support and the real human connected support that Jane gives. And it shines through in everything that Jane does and every Jane team member I've met over the past several years. But what Jane also does really well is giving the facts about like what it actually means to switch an EHR, whether you're switching to Jane or not, because it's an extremely daunting task when you're a healthcare provider. I mean, we did this in 2019. We were using 3 other systems. We found Jane, But it took us a long time to switch because of the amount of work that we felt was involved. But once I realized, the step-by-step process that was laid out, and it's almost literal hand holding. If Jane could actually reach us through the screen, they would be holding our hands through the process. That's what it felt like. And I was blown away actually by how smooth the process was, and that the information showed up correctly on the other side once the transfer was done. And it doesn't feel possible because as healthcare providers, I think we have a lot of experiences that are not that, right? We have especially with technology, but also like things just aren't usually set up for us. And especially multidisciplinary teams, there aren't systems that are built for us. And so we're always having to do all these workarounds, and we're expecting things not to work, and we're expecting companies to give us terrible customer support or to not even have a real person to talk to. So, I mean, obviously people hear me every week on the podcast talking about Jane, but that's truly my experience.
As someone also, I moved over a clinic that I was managing for a while from another EMR into Jane. And that was one of the biggest turning points for us, was having people there and having people accessible. And you can ask those questions and you can reach out when you need help, and it doesn't feel like you're lost. I always joke and I say to people, I love Jane so much I came to work here. I love my clinic. And I said, I love you guys so much, but I think I love Jane a little bit more.
That's an amazing story. So talk us through a little bit, like, what does Jane actually do differently than other EMRs to help customers change over and also to help them grow?
Yeah, we have a lot of things that we can do and a lot of things that we can help with as you're coming over. And as you mentioned too, a big one is just the facts. We don't ever want to have a conversation where we feel like we're steering you in the wrong direction if Jane isn't a great fit. One of the reasons I actually came to work here at Jane was that we didn't have a sales team, and we still don't have a sales team. We just want to make sure that we're providing the best possible resources and tools for healthcare providers, and that we're truly following what we want to do best, and that's help the helpers. But if you are coming over into Jane, we have a handful of teams that actually help you and a handful of teams that guide you through every step of the way. We have specific teams that are dedicated to onboarding and helping you learn Jane and set Jane up in the right ways for your practice. Whether you're a solo practitioner, whether you're a big multidisciplinary clinic, there's something for everybody just to really make sure you get up and going in the best way possible. We also have our own dedicated imports team as well, and that team is there to help guide you going from one software to another software. And what is that going to look like? What data are we bringing over? How do we get that into your Jane account? And just setting you up for success and setting great expectations with you so we can do a lot of that for you so you can just hit the ground running. One of the biggest things is you're stopping your business to switch from one healthcare service to another, and that can be another daunting piece to that. So if we can sit down and we can set you up for success in the way where we can say, okay, if this is going to be your changeover day, we've done this tens of thousands of times. So this is going to be the best workflow for you for the least interruption to your business, which is a very important part. And then once you're over into Jane and you are having a great time, there's lots of other tools that we can help you with, like telehealth. We have insurance features, whether you're in the US or whether you're in Canada. We have some new things coming out as well. So for Ontario, we have the HCI integration coming out, which is really exciting for us. So HCI, for those of you who don't know, is Ontario's motor vehicle healthcare system. But we have a lot too, even in the way of analytics. We have a new analytics program. We're still in a little bit of a beta with that, but it's fantastic because the things as a clinic manager that I used to do, running reports and sitting around on weekends for hours, compiling information about what are busy times of the days or who's doing really well or who might need a little bit more support in the clinic. Jane just does that for you now. So you can click a button and you can see performance on, your actual life cycle of your patients. You can see your busiest times of the days. You can see maybe who has a rebooking percentage that's a little bit less than other practitioners, and use that as a coaching model in a bigger multidisciplinary clinic. So there's lots that Jane does. And then for some larger customers as well, we have things like our corporate team, which if you have 10 or more full-time practitioners, is one of the teams that I manage. And what we do is we always want to make sure that we have that relationship ongoing with you. So we check in maybe once or twice a year, and we see where you're at. And we see if you know about Jane's tools that you can use, like analytics or group telehealth if you're a mental health practice. And we teach you how to use these things and what it actually means in your business. So we don't just give you the tools and then say, okay, great, here you go. We take the time to make sure that you know exactly what that means to your business and how that works in there with you. And we feel like that's a really strong point as well of saying, yeah, you know what? Here's everything you need for success. And we want you to feel confident and comfortable with that. And we feel like we do that really well. Again, the first thing that we want to do every day when we wake up in the morning here at Jane is help the helpers. And we want to make sure that everybody is really comfortable in their business and not just in their day-to-day practice.
Mm-hmm. And you're doing it. I mean, Jane has so many pathways of bringing resources to Jane customers, right? It's really is a community. And that's why we switched originally, because it really feels like a community of healthcare providers, and Jane truly wants everyone to succeed. And part of that is actually caring about the features that healthcare providers really need to function in their business and putting them into place, right? Just like any system, Jane might not have every single feature that you are looking for right at the time of sign up. It might be missing that one thing, but in 6 months, all of a sudden that feature's there, and you're building it out all the time. And that's something I really appreciate. And you really care. I mean, I remember having a conversation with Allie a while back, Jane's co-founder, and she was telling me a story about, why about memberships in the US, the like memberships feature and also the insurance feature. And she's like, I just don't even know why we need this. That she's like, my first thought was, why do we even need this? Why do we need memberships? She's like, so I go down, I'm talking to everyone in the US trying to figure out why we need these memberships, right? And she understands why we need them. And here we are, we have memberships. So I just appreciate that about the community. Now, if someone is still using pen and paper charts, right? They have not embarked on the EMR journey yet. What are the benefits of moving into an EMR?
Endless benefits. I mean, the big one is time. Let's save you time so you can actually go and enjoy your life outside of your practice. So you have that time to decompress, and you have that time to go travel or spend time with your family, whatever it is that really drives you and that really fills your buckets up outside of your practice. When I started working at my clinic, we weren't using an EMR. We were using pen and paper, and it absolutely drove me crazy. And I said, no, there has to be a better way to do this. And I spent quite a bit of time looking at different EMRs and looking at what solutions were out there. And we finally landed on Jane. And almost immediately, you could see a shift in people's workdays. The fact that you could just pop into Jane, know your schedule right away. You could see your charting right away. As a practitioner, on Jane's digital day sheet that you get to see, you can see exactly all of the patients that you either have charted for or haven't charted for, or if you started a draft and you need to go and do that. There's just so many of these nice little things that Jane does very intuitively that really just land for practitioners. And again, it can seem very daunting when you've just done pen and paper forever, and you might be thinking, well, I'm just going to ride this out for the next 5 years or 10 years whenever I retire. But it truly does give you that, not just quality of life outside of work, but at work as well too, because you start to enjoy doing those things because it's very easy to navigate and it's very easy to see, which I find is really important. But then you can look at the business part as well. And you have such easy access to reporting, whether that's your weekly reports or monthly reports, or if you want to dig in and see some of your annual sales reports, or even just clinician management becomes so much easier as well if you have a bigger practice. Jane enabled me personally to be able to grow on average about 17% year over year for 4 years that we were using Jane before I left my clinic, which is pretty huge when you look at what you can do just through an EMR. This is outside of marketing, outside of anything else we were doing. This is just Jane, what we were able to do.
Hey there, this is Katie from Jane. Thanks for letting me drop into your episode today. Jane is an all-in-one practice management software that makes it easy for you to run and grow your business with helpful features like online booking, scheduling, charting, and integrated payments. Here at Jane, we know that time is money, so we've created a better way for you to not just save time, but also get paid with our PCI-compliant integrated payment solution called Jane Payments. With Jane Payments, you can request a credit card on file through an intake form or through your online booking payment policy. Jane Payments also makes it easy to collect outstanding balances through payment request, emails, and texts. And the best part? There are no hidden fees, no surprises, and no contracts. It only takes a few minutes to set up before you're good to start processing payments. Learn how to save time and get paid with Jane at jane.app/payments.
So it really opens up a lot of doors for you to have success and to start understanding what's happening in your practice a little bit more. Again, Jane just demonstrates this to you at a very digestible level where you don't need a business degree to go in and look at this stuff and understand what's going on. And even if you are a little confused, or if you don't quite understand how information is getting collected somewhere or how it's presenting, again, we're here to have that conversation with you, and we're here to help you, whether that's around tax season and you need to know what reports to pull to understand what your business has been doing. We have webinars where we bring in community members from Jane to help us with things like that as well. And it's really by practitioners for practitioners. It's not just us as Jane saying, we're an EMR, we're going to tell you how to do this. This is real world application from one person to another. And again, too, it's just that community as well. And one thing I also love about Jane is you don't need to be a Jane customer to be a part of the Jane community. You can just join our Facebook group. You can sign up for our new magazine that we have digitally online, and you get all the benefits of that. And we want to share that with people. We don't want to gatekeep that information. But if you've never used an EMR, that's the type of community that you get with Jane. But it just really enhances your business because a lot of the things that you're doing by hand every day are demonstrated for you automatically. And you can see where your accounts receivable is. You can see your schedule at a glance. You get things like automated reminders that come out from Jane. There's no front desk staff that has to call. There's just endless things that Jane can really help you with. And I think some things are more important to others. And I'm always really interested to see what people are looking for and why they're looking to switch. But honestly, at the end of the day, our goal is to make Jane the employee of the month for you, whether that is help with scheduling or sending out waitlist notifications when a spot opens up for you. So while you're treating one patient, if something opens up by the time you're finished with that patient, someone else is already booked in for you. We really want to see your success in business, and we really want to make that as easy as possible for you, which is why I think an EMR is just such an awesome choice. And there's so many cool tools nowadays, not just in Jane, but for a lot of EMRs out there. And one thing that we love is just enabling people to understand the choices that are there and what's going to be best for them, because it truly does open so many doors for you.
And the sheer fact for healthcare providers, the reality is if you're still using pen and paper, depending on your modality, you are required to keep those charts for us as therapists, 7 years past the time you stop working with that client. It's a lot of years to keep those paper folders, right? So even just for that simple fact to get yourself online and, get that huge file cabinet out of your office.
And it's safer as well.
Exactly.
I've known lots of, first and foremost, it's safe. It's completely safe, secure. Everything is stored, in the safest way possible. We use the same encryption that a bank uses. And, we have so many different fail safes for, the sort of quote unquote, the worst case scenarios, so we've planned for everything, and we really want to make sure that people are comfortable with us taking care of their data. But I've known my fair share of practitioners that have dedicated storage rooms or dedicated, half storage records, half playrooms for their kids with stacks of boxes of folders and papers everywhere. And, we want to clear that room up for you. So you can either make a nice little reading room or your kids have a place to play. But the big one again too, is it's just safer. We always encourage people to store their information in an EMR, even once you've transitioned from pen and paper over into an EMR. We have some ways to recommend to you on how to scan that stuff in and how to manage that and move that over into Jane. So it's not just sitting there still, because it's always going to be the absolute safest and best thing for you to do to store that in an EMR.
So I'm curious, when you were a clinic manager using Jane, what was your favorite feature?
Ooh, that's a really good question. I think my absolute favorite feature, I have two that come to the top of mind that really, really helped us. Number one was our insurance features, because there were so many times where I was manually doing stuff or trying to collect information and record it in different places. And it was just a daunting task, tallying up insurance at the end of every month and making sure that everything was out there and doing that stuff by hand. And then the other one was the payment integration. Our payment integration helped us cut down on accounts receivable probably by half. And that was such a big pain point for us. Was you might not see someone for a little while. So let's say someone doesn't come in for 6 months. We were primarily physical therapy. So at the end of the day, if someone doesn't come in to see the chiro, or someone doesn't come in for a massage, or whatever it may be, you don't have a way of collecting that money. And you always want to make sure that you're keeping the patient experience in mind, and you want that to be enjoyable. And I think Jane does that in a really great way, where you can send a payment balance email with a little note if you're using Jane Payments that just says, hey, you zipped out last time, we were busy, no worries. If you could just pay this, and people can do it online, or they can store their credit card with you, and you can do that for them. And it just also provides a really great experience too. I was worried when I first started that maybe that would seem a bit invasive for people if we were storing their credit card information and just charging them as they came in. But people really enjoyed it. I would say 95% of our patients go, oh my gosh, we absolutely love this, because when I come in and I have my 3 kids with me, the last thing I'm trying to think of is, oh my gosh, I need to go and pay Michael at the front desk before I leave, or oh my gosh, I need to rebook something. She's like, I get home and that's it. And I just want to make sure that everybody's taken care of and everything's good to go. So it just opens you up for that. And it's so fantastic that you get to provide that experience. And again, so everything's kept within Jane. And so even as an additional payments processor, whether you're using only Jane or whether you're bringing in Jane as a supplement to your in-house, whatever you're using, it's so nice because that support still has everything to do with Jane. You don't need to go anywhere else, but it cut down on so much for us and was such a great tool for us to use. And at the end of the day, like I mentioned, just really did provide a fantastic patient experience.
Yeah, I think I have 2 favorite features of Jane also. And really my first experience with Jane was as a patient at another clinic. And it was so user-friendly for me. And so I really appreciate that a lot of EMRs are user-friendly on one side, right? They're either for the patient or for the provider. And so Jane is very user-friendly on both sides, and it's a great experience for providers and clients alike. But really, the reason we switched, and my absolute favorite thing about Jane, is that it's built by providers for providers and for multidisciplinary, modalities. And foundationally, we are a multidisciplinary clinic, and to have it really makes a difference for the clinicians to also feel valued equally, because some of these other systems, right, they're built for mental behavioral health, or they're built for chiropractic, or they're built for massage. And then you can try to do workarounds for the other modalities. But for Jane, it's built for each of the modalities to actually work together. And so we do a ton of collaborative care here, and we are communicating about our patients' care all the time. And so Jane is an amazing tool where we can actually utilize that to see what's going on with the patient. And it's seamless in that way. So those are my favorite features. And everyone here knows,
that's so exciting.
knows by now that I'm just a super fan, and Jane's really made our lives a lot easier and our business grow. So let's talk about, we have some just things to promote for our listeners here, the 1-month discount code and the new magazine, if you want to tell everyone about those.
Yeah, absolutely. So there is a 1-month code. I actually completely forget what it is. I had it written down on some piece of paper here somewhere, and now I'm like, okay, where is it?
Well, if it's the Wellness Center Creators Code, it's just wellness.
You got it.
Yeah, so it's wellness, the number 1, and then MO. So wellness 1 month.
Perfect. And we also have our very first magazine that we just brought out. There is a physical copy that you can get on a waitlist for, or you can read the digital version, and that's just jane.app/front desk. And that's what our new magazine is called. I have a physical copy sitting here on my desk, and I actually really love it. I was telling my old clinic owners, I was speaking to them a couple weeks ago, and just how excited I was about this. This is a magazine that is for practitioners, and it's not just by Jane. It's not just a bunch of Jane stuff that's in there. Not that Jane isn't exciting. I love absolutely everything that we do here. And I think it's so great when we get to share that with people. But there's so many articles in there, everything from creating a really beautiful space and what that means for your clinic. And there's a really cool article in there about different plants that you can keep and what's going to be easy and what kind of matches up to different disciplines, which is really cute. And there's just a lot of tools. There's a lot of tips in there, and it's from members of our community. It's written by practitioners, and the information in there is just presented so great. And it was amazing to see how great of a job our Jane team that took care of that did. It was so beautiful. And I'm really excited to share that with everybody. And then, the last thing I'll mention is, you don't need to be a Jane user to be a part of the community. You don't need to have an account or anything like that. You can join our Facebook group, and you can ask questions in there if you'd like and get feedback from other people that are using Jane in the real world. And you can also book a demo with us too, right on our website, jane.app. Hop on, book a demo, hang out with one of our great support folks, and just get a nice walkthrough. There's never any anticipation of you signing up after that. Again, too, we just want to make sure that you have all the information and everything that you need to go and make an educated decision, whether that's Jane or whether that's something else. We just want to see you thrive as a business owner, and we just want to make sure that you have everything that you need to make that great choice. And we can also give you access to our demo site after that too, where you get to poke around yourself and you just get to see what Jane's about and what it looks like and what it feels like to use that as a practitioner or as a patient as well, if you haven't already with another practitioner. But I always love just doing demos once in a while. It's one of my favorite things to do, just connecting with someone who either knows a little bit or a lot of it about Jane and just seeing what they need and how we can be a great fit.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Michael. It was lovely to chat with you today.
Thank you. It was lovely to be on your show, and happy to be here.
Thanks so much for listening to the Wellness Center Creators Podcast. I hope you enjoyed the episode. please visit our website at wellnesscentercreators.com for more show notes and additional episodes. By the way, I love hearing from listeners. Please send me an email at Kendall, Kendall, at wellnesscentercreators.com with your feedback. And if you send me a question, maybe I'll read it on the show, anonymously, of course. Thanks so much again for listening, and we'll catch you next time on the Wellness Center Creators Podcast.